We have Jane Parkin Kullmann from ALS Quest, designing and implementing an international web-based questionnaire to look at risk factors for ALS MND. Jane.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, first of all, to the organizing committee for having me, and also thank you to all of you in advance for staying and persevering through this very long day, which they always are. But you know, I definitely appreciate you hanging around to hear from what I have to say. So. So as you see, the title of my project is ALS Quest, and we all know there's great research being done in the genetic space and in biomarkers and all those sorts of things, and yet we still don't know a lot about what causes ALS MND, and and I think. As part of this project, we're really interested in trying to figure out what those risk factors might be. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we've done so far on the project, where we are today, and where we hope to end up. So, excuse me. So the project, in essence, is an epidemiological research project, and it's a case control study. So we're looking at the ALS patients as a group, and then also the controls, which obviously people without ALS, and comparing them to see what the differences are, and those would lead us to what we hope to be risk factors for the disease. So we published our first article in 2015. So we started developing the questionnaire itself in 2014, and it was based on an existing questionnaire that my colleague Roger Pamphlet developed in Australia. All this is based at the University of Sydney, starting in 2001. And so he ran a paper-based questionnaire project from 2001 to 2012. And in seeing how that went, and how the internet kind of really changed the world in the intervening years, his goal was to make a fully online version of a questionnaire that would get information from PALs and controls in a more time sensitive fashion, as opposed to 11 years, and also be able to get a lot more responses. So this article, we summarized how we developed the questionnaire and all of our sources, and it's available online for free for anybody. So I definitely encourage you to go read it if you'd like to know more about how we developed the questionnaire. So the things that we're looking at, I'm sure most of you might be familiar with a lot of these ideas. They generally fall into two categories. One are chemical risk factors, and the other are lifestyle. So with chemicals, you have your heavy metals, pesticides, volatile chemicals, also another interesting class that we are interested in, and electric shock kind of falls into that category as well, as sort of a physical thing that happens to a person. The other lifestyle risk factors, again, smoking's a big one, and also a really interesting one to us, because in our study, which in Roger's original study based in Australia, he's never really found in his data that smoking is a risk factor, but yet there's a lot of other studies out there that say smoking is a risk factor, essentially, that they're pretty definite about it. And so there's some interesting differences between his study and others in the literature. So other things like physical activity has been very much debated in the literature. And then on the right here, we just highlighted some that are specifically related to occupation, so pesticides and even flying, and also military service, yet another controversial aspect of potential risk factors for the disease. So how do we do this? We have a website. Doesn't everybody? So just like everybody else, we have a website. It's just on the internet. Everybody can go to it, and you just click on it and you fill out the questionnaire. It is a bit lengthy. It's just as easy as that, right? I know, it is lengthy. It takes about 60 to 90 minutes on average, but you can go back to it. So we do have an option where it puts a cookie on the computer, so that saves your answers in that session, and you can go back to the website and it will pick up where you leave off. So that's pretty helpful. And you can fill it out really on any device. We do recommend computers just because that's where it's been best tested, and we definitely know it works. And we know it works on tablets and phones, but it can get a little bit, anyways, it does work, but we recommend computers. So that's the website, and just easy as that. One of the best things that Roger and I are really most excited about for the project is that because it's online and it's based off of a software program, the software program itself actually has the option to translate it into different languages. And the program, the program uses Google Translate at this point to do it, which I know, okay, so it's not, we know Google Translate, but how we do this is we've translated them, and then we have people who volunteer and who check those. So they've all been thoroughly vetted by a native speaker of the language. And as you can see, we have quite a lot. We have about 27 languages, which cover quite a bit of the world of a primary language in all of these countries. So we're really excited about that. We have Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, Japanese, French, Russian, yes, and Efrat wants you to know that we have Hebrew because she was the one who translated it. Thank you, Efrat. She did an amazing job. We also had Paulina from one of the ALS organizations in Russia help us out. So that's been really an amazing contribution, and many students at the University of Sydney, in fact, have helped us out with doing these translations. So if you don't see your language on the website, or if it's not on this map, see me and I can help you out, or you can help me out too. So that's very exciting. So that's really one of the things we're hoping leads to some really interesting findings, because this will hopefully allow us in the future to compare risk factors between countries or regions or however we want to do it. So far we have about 1,100 responses to the questionnaire, and as of September, these are the countries from which those respondents have indicated these are the countries that they reside in. So, we're doing okay. We have really great response from Australia, of course, being our home base. We have been able to do a lot of internal outreach, and the MND associations in Australia have been so supportive, so that's really helpful. And the US and Canada, we've gotten a pretty good response. So, and also Spain. Is Spain here? Oh, good. Spain, we have somebody in Spain who was just took this on, and we have 150 Spanish responses, so it's very exciting. So that's really nice. And of course, the really interesting thing is, where have these people heard about the questionnaire? And as you will see, the #1 source of information is in fact you. So thank you. Good job. Thank you. I could say thank you 1,000 times and it wouldn't be enough, because really the key to the success of this project is in fact getting responses. And so the more responses we have, the better our results will be. And so, as I mentioned, getting the word out to the PALs is really the critical part of this project. So again, the internet's been a great help. We do all the social media things, and I basically will do anything. Not anything, but that's a little bit, I didn't mean to say that. There's basically no, anyway, within reason. So, but for example, I was like, Twitter? Really? I have to do Twitter? And I was like, yes, I'll just do it. So I joined Twitter. That was fun. So we're on Twitter and things like that. So, as you can see, like I said, I've kind of leave no stone unturned when it comes to publicizing it. So through the university, through Facebook, all those things. So the main advantages of our questionnaire, doing it this way, being online, we can get a lot of respondents. It's pretty easy to fill it out. And it's a lot faster. So now we have 1,100 people in less than 3 years, which is pretty incredible. So we have, we have some results that I'm writing up. We've already published one paper, and we have another one that we've submitted, and we're working on another one. So it's really allowed us to accelerate the process of, looking for risk factors for the disease. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I didn't do that. It's worldwide. Anyone with an internet connection can access it, so that's really helpful. The translations are fantastic. And the best part for me is there's very little in the way of transcription. So, all those answers that are captured are in a database, and so I can just get those data straight out of the database, and I don't have to do a lot of manual data entry at all. Of course, we are limited in the fact that we don't really get to interact with all of our respondents, and we aren't able to collect biological data or confirm their diagnosis, but on the whole, other studies have shown that people reporting as ALS patients are pretty accurate in that reporting. So this is our first results paper. It was very exciting. It was in August, and we actually contradicted the finding of an earlier paper, so that was kind of fun because we had about 600 people compared to the original paper, which had about 70, and so that was really interesting. Again, this one's open access, so you can go online and check it out and take a look and see what you think. Whoops, I'm not sure where I'm aiming. Oh, there, no?
I'm not sure.
Oh, there he is. Okay. So we're still collecting responses, so that means you're not off the hook. You still have a lot more work to do, and we definitely appreciate your support in spreading the word about the project to pals and getting us to the point where we can really make this a very comprehensive worldwide project that really gives us a better insight into the causes of ALS MND. So thanks very much for your attention.
Thanks, Jane. And questions? Yes.
Do you have questions in this questionnaire about the patients' their own assessment of their desire level? The reason I say that is because a lot of the patients are perfectionists. They push themselves very hard. So I think most likely there's a behavior factor in this disease, and that might be the critical part that we need to intervene.
So you're saying behavioral factors?
Yeah. For example, the person, I can't tell my problem, right? So you need to have a questionnaire of the people living with the person, the friends or family, and the self, because they are perfectionists. Chen and Mao, that's our famous Chinese ALS patient.
The only thing we ask them is, we have a question about I think personality and also memory change. So
they can't answer that. I think it's their behavior, their personality. Yes, personality.
Well, we have three three sort of related inventories for personality. Yeah. So you have the Big Five inventory, which is a pretty well-validated study that's like the 5 personality facets. And we have the geriatric and anxiety inventory, and also a resilience inventory. So we kind of getting some idea about, but we ask them to fill that out as if this is a limitation also, but we asked them to fill it out as if it was before they had ALS MND, because we want to get an idea. We want to know pre-diagnostic. We want everything to be pre-diagnostic because we want it to be before they had the disease. So it's not really getting us any information about their current state of mind.
No, before ALS.
Yes,
It's just
exactly.
personality.
Another question
Yeah.
behind you?
Hi. First of all, I would like to thank you for such a wonderful project because I do believe it is very important. The only thing I was very surprised when you showed the map. India was in green and then in white because I myself didn't know about this project. So I would request Alliance to facilitate this project by involving all the associations so you can get more responders. And one question, if our patient fill up the survey, will the organization get a copy of their patient for us to analyze regional respect?
Oh yes, thank you. That's an excellent question, and because due to time constraints, I couldn't cover every aspect of the project. But that is, in fact, one of our one thing we are planning to do that we will do when we get 300 responses from a given country. We will make those results available for people to look at. So that is, in fact, another really important aspect of this project is that we fully intend, once we have critical mass, to provide these data to make them freely available to anybody who wants to look at them. So they are and again, I didn't get to mention this, but it is an anonymous survey, so we don't ask for any sort of anything that we consider really identifying information. So we ask about occupation, but we ask for job title, but not for employer. And we ask what kind of places you've lived. We don't ask, where exactly people have lived. So when we're providing this information out to, the world, it's going to be anonymous as well.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.